Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today into something that I think you're going to find really interesting.
I agree.
We're going to explore this idea that you can fast track
Yeah.
your fluency in English
Right.
by just focusing on the most common words,
Right.
specifically the 3,000 words that Americans use
Okay.
most often in everyday conversation.
Interesting.
And all of this is based on a website called Basic English Speaking.
Fascinating. So what's
Yeah.
the sort of the core concept here?
Well, the idea is
Yeah.
that you can kind of hack your way to fluency
Yeah.
by really mastering these 3,000 words.
That's interesting. It makes me think of the Pareto principle,
Oh, yeah.
the 80-20 rule,
Right.
where 80% of the results come from just 20% of the effort.
Uh-huh.
So in this case, could mastering just 20% of the vocabulary
Right.
unlock 80% of fluency in everyday conversation?
Wow. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty compelling idea.
Yeah, I think so.
And this website really takes that concept and runs with it.
Oh, wow. How so?
They actually offer 3,000 free lessons,
Wow.
one for each of these essential words.
That's incredible.
And each lesson includes the definition,
Okay.
pronunciation with audio, and even example sentences,
Wow.
all with high-quality audio.
That's amazing. So it's not just about
Yeah.
learning isolated words.
Yes.
They're actually putting it all together.
And they go beyond that, too.
Oh, really? How so?
They also focus on common expressions and sentence patterns.
Interesting.
And that's where it gets really powerful, because if you can master even one common sentence pattern,
Yeah.
you can use that
Okay.
as a framework to create hundreds of correct sentences.
I see. So it's like a template almost.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like having a magic formula for
Yeah.
speaking English.
Yeah.
I remember when I was learning Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
sentence patterns were a game changer for me.
Yeah.
It suddenly felt like I could actually construct sentences
Yeah.
instead of just memorizing words.
Right. It's like you actually understand the
Yeah.
structure of the language.
And this website provides those patterns
Okay.
along with tons of real-life
Wow.
conversation examples,
That's great.
all neatly organized by topic.
Nice.
It's all about equipping you
Uh-huh.
with the kind of English
Okay.
you'll actually use day to day,
Right.
not just textbook jargon.
So it's like real spoken English.
It sounds like they're really emphasizing
Yeah.
real spoken English, as they call
Yeah.
it.
I like that.
They even make a point of saying
Yeah.
you learn to speak English by listening and speaking, not by reading.
Interesting.
I'm curious, what's the
Yeah.
thinking behind that?
Well, it makes me think about how children learn their first language.
Yeah.
They listen to the adults around them. They
Right.
start mimicking sounds.
Uh-huh.
And eventually they begin speaking. Reading and writing come much later.
Yeah.
So this approach really taps into that natural way of acquiring language.
Right.
It emphasizes the auditory aspect of learning.
So it's about training your ear
Yeah.
to recognize the sounds and rhythms of English,
Exactly.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask about something
Yeah.
that really caught my eye.
Yeah.
The fact that all of this is offered completely free.
Wow.
The vocabulary lessons, the phrases,
Mm-hmm.
the conversation examples, the audio, it's all free.
That is generous.
Honestly, I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Why would they do that?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the motivation isn't entirely clear.
Right.
It could be a way to build brand awareness,
Yep.
attract users to a paid platform down the line,
Uh-huh.
or maybe it's a form of educational altruism.
I mean, part of me wants to believe they just genuinely want to help people learn English,
Yeah, it would be nice.
whatever the reason.
Yeah,
It's a pretty incredible resource to have available.
I agree.
And it's not just us who think so.
Oh, really?
They have a whole section of testimonials
Yeah.
from both ESL learners and teachers.
Interesting.
And they're raving about the website.
What are some of the things they're saying?
Well, there's this recurring theme in these testimonials.
Okay.
Many people mention how much their fluency has improved
That's great.
and how they find the website to be more enjoyable and less intimidating than traditional textbook-heavy methods.
That makes sense.
For example, there's this one ESL teacher
Okay.
named Pandya Arunachalam,
All right.
and he said his students have become
Yeah.
competent to converse fluently
Wow.
only because of your benevolent contribution.
Wow.
That's quite a statement.
That is.
There are tons of other glowing reviews from learners, too.
Oh, really? Like what?
Someone named Jenka even said,
Okay.
The way the material is simplified
Huh.
just makes it so much easier to follow and learn.
I see.
But beyond just the testimonials,
Yeah.
let's talk more about these English learning guides they
Yeah.
offer.
All right.
I was intrigued by some of the topics they cover,
Like what?
like improving listening skills
Okay.
and overcoming that mental translation barrier.
Interesting.
I think those guides could be really valuable.
Yeah, I agree because they delve into
Yeah.
some of the most common challenges faced by English learners.
Right.
Overcoming the mental translation barrier in particular can be a real game changer for fluency.
Now you got to explain that one for me.
Okay.
What exactly I see the mental translation barrier
Right.
and how do you overcome it?
Okay.
I'm fascinated by this.
All right, I'll tell you all about it. It's that habit we have, of translating everything in our heads back and forth
Yeah.
between English and our native language.
Oh, right.
And it really slows us down,
Yeah.
and makes it harder to think and speak spontaneously.
Right.
So the key is to start thinking directly in English as
Right.
much as possible.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like when you're driving a car,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to be constantly checking the map.
Right.
You want to know the route so well
Exactly.
you can just flow with the traffic.
Yeah, like you're on autopilot.
So how do these guides actually help people
Yeah.
break through that barrier?
Well, they offer specific techniques and exercises
Okay.
to help you train your brain
Right.
to think in English.
Well, like what kind of things?
Well, for example,
Yeah.
they might suggest things like labeling objects around your house in English
Oh, okay.
or talking to yourself in English
Uh-huh.
about your daily routine.
Okay.
It's about creating an immersive environment
Right.
where you're constantly exposed to the language.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's about building those neural pathways,
Uh-huh.
those connections in your brain
Right.
that allow you to bypass that translation step.
Exactly.
And speaking of connections,
Yeah.
they also have sections dedicated to idioms
Okay.
and phrasal verbs.
Right.
Now, those are two things
Yep.
that always trip me up
I know,
when I was
right?
learning languages.
They can be tricky.
Yeah.
Idioms and phrasal verbs are like the secret code of English.
Hmm.
They often don't translate literally, so you
Wow.
really have to learn them
Yes.
as unique expressions.
And what's helpful about this website
Yeah.
is that they provide clear explanations
Yeah.
and examples of how these idioms and phrasal verbs are used in context.
Exactly. It's all about the context.
That's so important because
Yeah.
idioms can be so confusing
Right.
when you first encounter them.
It's like, what are they talking about?
Like kick the bucket.
Yeah.
Who would ever guess that means to die?
Yeah,
It sounds so random.
it does.
But having those clear examples and explanations
Yeah.
really helps you understand the meaning
Right.
and how to use them naturally.
And phrasal verbs are another challenge
Okay.
because they combine a verb with a preposition or adverb,
Right.
and the meaning can change completely depending on the combination.
Oh, wow.
Take the verb take, for example.
Okay.
You can take off your clothes, take up a new hobby,
Right.
take on a challenge, and so on.
It's like each phrasal verb is its own puzzle.
It is.
But this website helps you solve those puzzles
Yeah.
by breaking them down
It's
and
what it
showing
is.
you how they work in different situations.
Right.
It's really impressive
Yeah.
how this website manages to cover
Uh-huh.
all these different aspects
Right.
of spoken English.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive.
It's not just about memorizing words.
Right.
It's about understanding the nuances,
Mm-hmm.
the idioms,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
phrasal verbs,
Yeah.
the rhythm of the language.
Exactly. It's like getting the feel for it.
And by focusing on real-world conversations
Mm-hmm.
and providing authentic audio examples,
Yeah.
they're really helping learners
Right.
develop an ear
Yeah.
for the natural flow of English.
It's about immersion, you
Yes.
know? Really absorbing those patterns and rhythms.
It's like learning to dance
Yeah.
to the music of the English language.
I like that analogy.
You need to feel the beat, the rhythm, the flow.
Yeah.
And speaking of flow,
Okay.
this website seems to be all about unlocking fluency, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely.
So many of the testimonials mentioned that word unlocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they found the key
Yeah.
to a door that had been locked for them.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about moving from feeling stuck and intimidated by the language
Right.
to feeling confident and empowered to communicate.
Exactly.
And I think that confidence is a crucial element of fluency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you feel confident in your ability to speak,
Uh-huh.
you're more likely to take risks,
Right.
try new things,
Right.
and engage in conversations without fear of making mistakes.
Exactly. You just go for it.
You start to see yourself as an English speaker,
Yeah.
and that shift in mindset can be incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. It changes everything.
It's about moving beyond the textbook and
Mhm.
into the real world where you
Ah.
can actually use the language
Yeah.
to connect with people,
Does it-
share ideas,
Yeah.
and experience new things.
It opens up a whole new world.
And the more you use it,
Yeah.
the more fluent you become.
Exactly. It's a beautiful cycle.
So for anyone out there who's been struggling
Yeah.
to improve their spoken English,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's time to step away
Okay.
from those dusty textbooks
Right.
and give this basic English speaking website a try.
I think it's worth a shot.
What do you think?
Yeah.
It really feels like they've created something special here.
Yeah.
Something that could potentially transform
Mm.
the way people approach language learning.
I think it really challenges the traditional methods
Right.
that often focus on grammar rules and rote memorization.
Yeah.
This approach flips the script and
Right.
says, let's start with what you actually need to communicate.
Right.
And let's make it fun and engaging.
It's like learning the essential dance steps first,
Yeah.
and then you can add your own flair and style
Right.
as you go along.
Yeah. You build upon that foundation.
One thing that struck me
Yeah.
is how this website embodies the idea that sometimes the simplest approaches can be the most effective.
That's interesting.
We tend to overcomplicate things,
Yeah, we do.
especially when it comes to learning.
I think we get bogged down in details
Yeah.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Right.
But this website strips away the unnecessary
Uh-huh.
and focuses on the core elements
Okay, yeah.
that truly matter for spoken fluency.
Because it's like a reminder that you don't
Mhm.
need to know every single word
Right.
in the dictionary to communicate effectively.
Exactly.
Think back to those
Yeah.
early stages of learning your native language.
Okay.
You didn't know a fraction of the words you know now,
Right.
but you could still express yourself
Yeah.
and connect with people.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And this website taps into that
Mhm.
innate ability
Yeah.
we all have to learn language naturally.
Right. We're wired for it.
It's about reawakening that instinct
I like that.
and applying it to learning English.
Yeah.
And for you, our listener,
Sure.
remember this.
Okay.
You don't need to be perfect
Right.
to be fluent.
Yeah. Embrace those mistakes.
Embrace those mistakes.
They're part of the process.
They
In fact, every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow.
absolutely.
So don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Right.
Speak up and engage in conversations.
And as you master those 3,000 most common words,
Yeah.
keep exploring.
Uh-huh.
Keep pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
Yay.
Dive into those idioms and phrasal verbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Immerse yourself in English-speaking environments.
Yeah. Surround yourself with the language.
And watch your fluency soar.
You'll be amazed at how much you progress.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about finding joy in the journey,
Uh-huh.
embracing the challenges,
Right.
and celebrating the progress you make along the way.
It's all about the journey.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe one day you'll be writing
Wow.
your own glowing testimonial
That would be awesome.
about how this approach unlocked your English fluency.
And perhaps you'll even inspire others to embark on their own language learning adventures.
Because the beauty of language
Yes.
is that it connects us,
It does.
opens up new worlds, and allows us to share our unique voices
Uh-huh.
with the world.
Beautifully said.
Well, listeners, we've reached the end
Yeah.
of our deep dive into the world
Uh-huh.
of accelerated English fluency.
It's been a fascinating journey.
We hope you found this exploration insightful
Yeah.
and maybe even a bit inspiring.
I hope so.
Remember, fluency is within your reach.
Absolutely.
It's about taking those first steps,
Uh-huh.
embracing the journey,
Yeah.
and enjoying the ride.
And never give up.
Until next time, keep learning,
Keep exploring.
keep exploring.
And keep those conversations flowing.
We'll see you next time.